Today we are going to go over everything that you need to know from gym choices all the way to supplements if you've been training for 1 to 3 years. If you manage to tick all of these boxes, you are going to speedrun your gains. So let's go after it. Even if you've been training for 1 year, this guide is still for you. And everything starts with figuring out what you want to do and what is the best way to get there. And since I'm a hypertrophy coach, if you want to look jacked and look fucking sexy, then you will need a gym full of machines. Hopefully with quality equipment. And if you are living in the UK, then most commercial gyms are typically trash. But if you can find a bodybuilding gym, even though that's intimidating, hot as fuck, this is the best choice. And since we are at machines, this question always comes up. Which one you should use? Free weights or machines? And this will hurt a lot of people's feeling, but machines are typically better for hypertrophy. And I just want to hint it here that there are some emerging researches that machines are just as good as free weights even for athletes, but I don't want to step outside of my lane. And for a long time there was this do bench press, squat, deadlift, this is the foundation. But is that the foundation for what? People literally throw this foundation word around like it is coming from a gospel. And there is no explanation behind it. Oh, it trains to stabilize your muscles. What is a stabilizer? Like for example, if you are squatting, your hamstring is stabilizing. But what if you do a hamstring curl? Wouldn't that be better for training your stabilizer? Oh, but you are balancing. But why would you want to balance? You are there because you want to get jacked out of your mind. So the less balancing is involved, the more you can train the targeted muscle that you actually want to train. If balancing would be so good for gains, then everybody would do everything on a fucking Bosu ball. But I have never seen Ronnie Coleman doing biceps curls on that. Also, it doesn't even have to be Ronnie Coleman. It can be anybody, literally. So even if your training program is full of machines, you are going to make crazy gains. I could also say that you are probably going to make way more gains than those who are blindly attached to free weights for absolutely no reason. And of course, there are exercises that you can't do on machines or you don't have access to machines. And if you like free weights, of course you can do them, but just know that to get from A to B, sometimes machine is just way better. Does your training plan matter? I'm here to tell you that it does. Actually, even your training split. I would suggest to you to do full body or upper lower split because they are just that much better than bro split. But don't get me wrong, you can still make crazy gains on bro splits, but typically bros skip leg day, and if you are only training legs once per week, skipping it, then in the future that will lash back pretty hard. So if you are a noob, you can do full body 3 times per week, and then if you are training 4 times, you can add in an arm day, arms plus shoulder, a full leg day. I've never seen anybody doing that, or literally anything that makes sense. Upper lower split is great because you can mess around with it a lot. For example, on one upper body day, you can start with back. On the other upper body day, you can start with chest. Or if you don't care about any of these, you went to the gym because you want big arms, then there is no rule to say that you have to start with bench press or a back exercise. You can just go in and then on your upper body day 1, you can start with a pre-circle for your biceps, and then upper body 2, you can do a triceps. So once you've done all of your arm exercises, you can jump into the chest and back. There are no rules. But once you put together your training plan, you have to stick with it for 4 to 16 weeks and progress on all of your lifts. You want to get brutally strong on all of them. Not just on the first 2, but all of them, even the last one. And this is really important. Don't overdo the volume. Just do 1 to 3 sets per exercise and try to keep your rep ranges really low as 4 to 5 reps all the way to 10. Because there is literally no reason for you to go higher than that, apart from motivation. If you feel motivated doing higher rep ranges but you still get close to failure, it's fine, but just know that it has no benefit over lower rep ranges. In fact, lower rep ranges are just that much better. And don't forget to rest in between your sets. If you are only taking 30 to 60 seconds, you are not taking your training seriously. And if you are not taking it seriously, that is going to reflect on your results. Don't just try to go in and out of the gym. Once you are there, why would you sacrifice the quality of your training? If you can perform better, make better gains by resting 2 to 3 minutes, why wouldn't you do that? So what should be your focus when you are there? And this should be progressive overload, as in adding weight and reps to the sets you are doing. Your technique and execution should be on point as well. It doesn't matter if you pick the right exercise. If your execution is not on point, you are not going to get much out of the exercise, or at least from what you are doing. For example, if you are doing a really heavy swinging biceps curl where you are skipping the bottom part, but that's the part where your biceps is working, you can't wonder why you are not making biceps gains, because you literally skip the part where it is being trained. Or if you are using a hack squat and you never go down or below 90 degrees, you are just doing quarter squats, you are literally missing out on the part that is actually challenging your body and your muscles to grow. And even though that's the difficult part, if you skip that, nothing is going to happen. And your technique is really important. If we stick with the hack squat example, if you put your foot lower down on the platform, then you can bias your quads that much more. But if you place them a bit more forward or higher, it is going to be more glute bias. So how you set up the exercise, or let's call it technique, really matters in terms of where you are going to make more gains. So learning what an exercise does and where you have peak tension on you within that exercise and where you have hands off or no tension on you is crucial. Will it take time? Yes, it will probably take you 3 to 8 months, but once you master that, you will always know how to improve a body part even if it's lagging behind. Should you cut or bulk? Now, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. The chances of you knowing how much you are showering down your throat is pretty slim. So why would you jump into the deep water if you don't even know how to swim? At first, just register everything what you are eating and then calculate the calories and the weekend as well. If you are drinking, calculate that too, because you will never succeed your diet if you are measuring everything during the week, but on the weekend there's just nothing. You don't even know what's going on, but you're drinking a lot, you're going out, but you don't know what's going in. And then you will just look into the mirror or step on the scale and it is not moving, at least not to the direction where you want it to move. So even if you are drinking and you know that you like drinking, calculate the calories. If you are eating out, try to calculate the calories. So at least you know what's going on and how much you are intaking into your body when the weekend comes, because that's when most people fuck it up. And once you nail that down, you are ready to graduate and start your cut if you are chubby, or do a bulk if you are really skinny. But this is such a nuanced topic and it can vary from person to person. But let's say that you are fairly lean, but you are progressing in the gym, then you don't need to bulk. But if you go into a 100 to 200 calorie surplus and you maintain that to 3 to 6 months, you are going to add maybe 1 to 2 kilogram on your body, but you are still progressing. That is going to be enough. You don't have to force feed yourself, because guess what? You're not going to build more muscle. You can't force feed muscle growth. So there is no point getting really fat. And if you are on the chubbier side, then you can go into a 500 calorie deficit. It is going to be really easy at first, and it is going to get that much harder. Now, there are not many people who can cut to 10% or below without the help of drugs, even though what you see on Instagram. But if you try to get to 15 to 20% for men and 20 to 25% for women, that should be achievable. It is not going to be easy though, at least not for everybody. So try to aim for something that is actually feasible for you. Not to mention, it is still not going to be easy. And don't forget to eat 1.6 to 2.2 gram of protein per lean body mass. So how does it look like? For example, I'm 69 kilogram and I'm around 15% body fat. So I'm trying to aim to eat 120 to 140 gram of protein. So it's always a range. And as far as gym gear goes, try to get a strap. That's all you need really. It is cheap and you are going to use it for your legs and your back days. And try to master it early on. You don't want to start learning it when you really need it the most. You can buy weightlifting shoes. They are not cheap, but they are good. I never had any and I'm still fine. I can still train my legs without any problem. You can just improve your mobility. And you can buy weightlifting belt, but you also don't have to. I never used it in my life, yet my spine is still in one piece. And these are all the supplements you need. The fucking nothing. Seriously. I wasted so much money on supplements that do very little or close to nothing, when I could have spent that money on a good online trainer or training program. And I would get way further with that. And I just don't want you to make the same mistake. Protein powder is probably going to be the best for convenience. When I was a trainer, I used it to mix it in my oats and it took me like 5 minutes, so it was really convenient and quick. Not to mention it is fairly cheap. But ever since I've been working online, I just don't need it. I haven't used any for months. So it's not something that you have to get. It is there as an option. Probably the second best thing you can get is creatine. But again, how much it is going to affect your body composition? Very little. I'm not even talking about 1%. And there are also people who are kind of resistant, or at least they don't see any effect from that. And everything else is a waste of resource, like L-carnitine, fat burners, BCAA, and even pre-workouts. Just drink a fucking coffee. But of course, you can still get pre-workout and use it here and there. You just don't have to rely on that. And on my channel, you will find specific videos on most of these topics, so check them out, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and talk to you in the next one.